I've spent more time in the last 40 years out at sea than I have on shore. So, yeah, I just love the tranquility up there, mate. You know what it's like. You know, those sunrises and sunsets before you wake up the crew. It's still got the magic for me, that's for sure.
This is Fishtales, a seafood podcast. I'm John Susman.
Welcome back to the second part of our riveting podcast conversation with TK Walker, where we dive even deeper into the thrilling worlds of tuna fishing expertise and social media stardom. In today's interconnected digital landscape, the pervasive influence of social media has woven itself into the very fabric of our lives, leaving no domain untouched by its reach. From fashion and food to travel and technology, its impact is undeniable. But what about the hidden realms that lie beneath our screens, where rugged industries like commercial fishing navigate the vast oceans? In the expanse of the digital ocean, where trends ebb and flow like tides, sometimes an unexpected figure emerges from the depths to capture our attention and imagination. Enter TK Walker, a man whose life, as we have heard, was deeply anchored in the rhythms of the sea as a skilled fisherman. Little did he know that his tales of life on the high seas would transform him from a humble mariner into an unexpected star of the social media realm. With a captivating blend of authenticity, adventure and a dash of salt-sprayed wisdom, TK Walker's journey from fisherman to digital luminary reminds us that the most captivating stories often come from the unlikeliest of sources.
Oh, it's become crazy. I mean, I set up a page, I had a boat called the J. Catherine, and we were actually fishing outside the line, on the high seas permit, and I come across a rock, I won't say where, but I come across a rock and we got some extra large kingfish. I think the world record was 52 kilos for recreational caught yellowtail kingfish. And these ones were clearly above that. And I didn't think a lot of it. We ripped into them and got a couple of ton. And unbeknown to me, one of my deckhands knew a girl, Nikki Sindon, who had a TV show. And on the way in, he messaged her and said, "Oh, we've got these ginormous bloody kingfish." And she came down the wharf. I put up the wharf, and there was about 30 or 40 bloody people on the wharf and cameras and all this sort of carry on. I didn't know what the hell was going on, and they took a whole lot of video and that sort of thing, and basically we had all the doe labs of kingfish on the wharf, and she said, "Oh, we hear you've got some really big ones above the world record," and we hadn't weighed any of them. And she said, "Well, which one is it?" And I just looked at the bins and said, "Well, just grab one." And the first one she grabbed was 56 kilos, and there were bigger ones in the bin. So, and I'd just started the Facebook carry on, and I knew nothing about it. I was actually quite offended. I thought it was just your family and friends, and the idea of it was, because we were away at sea for so long, I wanted my wife and kids and my crew's family to see what we did. So I put it up just so we could share photos. And when all these other people started commenting, I didn't even know what the hell was going on, John. How the hell could these people see my page? So I was very naive about the whole thing. And when the kingfish photos went up, I got an absolute, I got slammed by the recreational guys. "Oh, how dare you," and all this sort of crap. And they didn't actually know the full story, because when I brought those kingfish in, the company I was fishing into, Moana Pacific, said, "Look, TK, they're too big. They're too big for the market. We don't really want them." And so for me, that was that. There was no point going out and harvesting fish that was no good for the market. So my thoughts right there were, okay, and we didn't. We didn't go back and fish that hill. There was no point. I thought, well, I'll space bank that, and one day I'll come back with a charter boat and grab some world records. But when I put the pictures up, we had all these guys, giving me absolute crap about it, and I had one guy, and I worked out he was in Auckland. I was tied up on the boat in Auckland, and I'm a pretty aggressive sort of guy. And I sort of said to the guy, "Righto, you smart ass, come on down to the viaduct and I'll knock your head off your shoulders. So so I jumped, he said, right, I'll be down there in 10 minutes type of thing. So I jumped up on the wharf and I'm storming up and down the wharf. And of course the guy never turned up, and that was sort of my first introduction to keyboard warriors. Yeah, so, and it just grew from there, John.
Social media's immense power has transcended traditional boundaries, impacting sectors like recreational fishing. It's democratised angling knowledge, forming virtual communities of enthusiasts and experts. Stunning visuals are shared on these platforms, which inspire adventure and boost tourism. However, challenges of sustainability and online validation also arise. Social media's role in fishing showcases its ability to connect, amplify voices and drive change, underscoring its influence in reshaping even age-old pastimes.
We've got just under 500,000 followers across all the platforms now. Facebook's up to we should hit 310,000 followers today. But what happened was, I actually started sharing a bit of information with a few of the recreational guys. I thought, this is bloody ridiculous, because we've always had this battle between the reckies and the commercial guys, and it's bloody ridiculous, because at the end of the day, a lot of us commercial guys, we grew up on the wharfs, recreational fishing on Dad's boats, so we're all recreational fishermen as well, and I started sharing a little bit of information with the guys, and then. Oh, it was about 6 years ago. I put up a post and said to the recreational guys and said, well, hey guys, if you want to catch a southern bluefin tuna, they actually come in close off the coast off East Cape there, and they're there right now. And I shared some marks, and I said, well, if you guys go out to these marks, they're only sort of 5 or 10 miles off the coast, you're going to get yourself a southern bluefin tuna. And I expected 3 or 4 boats to go out and have a crack at it. Well, apparently 300 or 400 boats went out that first weekend, and they all ripped into it. Yeah, so and there was a couple other guys involved as well. There was a couple of the recreational guys knew, but obviously the information hadn't been shared around. So there was another guy, Ben Carey, who was doing a bit of writing for a New Zealand fishing magazine. And another guy, John Lifton-Jones, who was a commercial fisher, had given me some marks. So I shared the information, and essentially a whole new fishery was born. I'm not taking credit for it, but I certainly helped launch the bloody thing. And to this day, they're out there right now, absolutely slaying it. So a whole new fishery was born. And I actually said to the guys on my post, I said, hey guys, you guys catch a bloody southern bluefin tuna, you owe me a box of beer. and I actually did get a couple of boxes off a few of the boys, but yeah, that soon dried up. I also said to I knew a few of the guys at Shimano, and I said to the guys, righto, you bastards, I've extended your game fishing season for 3 months of the year, so I want 10% of your sales from June onwards. So I'm still waiting on that check.
Sharing fishing knowledge on social media has several positive impacts. It democratises expertise, allowing experts and novices to learn and improve together. It fosters a sense of community amongst anglers, encouraging collaboration and camaraderie. The visual nature of social media promotes appreciation for the sport's beauty and adventure, potentially inspiring more people to take it up. Moreover, it can contribute to better conservation practices by raising awareness about sustainable fishing methods and environmental protection.
Very, very seldom now do I get the haters. We'll get the greenies and the animal activists and all that sort of carry on, which is understandable. But really, just sharing the information, it just shows that, there's not, it was breaking down that animosity between the user groups was the big thing for me. And it soon became apparent, going on the growth that there was, I had to be careful what I said and what I did. So it wasn't a matter of being a show pony and, oh, hey, look at TK. And I've said many, many times there are far, far better fishermen around than me. I just happen to have got the limelight. But it soon became apparent that I had a responsibility to represent the commercial industry in the positive light, and that's what I've tried to do, John. Is show. Try to show the recreational world that we are responsible and we can fish sustainably, and that's the great thing, John, with what's happening with our tuna fisheries. As you know, the southern bluefin tuna has been a massive success story, and it's really just sharing that with the recreational guys and showing that we can fish sustainably and show them the different techniques that we use. I was very grateful and receiving, I think it was last year, I got the Seabird Smart Award from the New Zealand fishing industry for advocacy for showing how to run toy lines and promoting the use of toy lines and that sort of carry on. And that's sort of where it is now, John, is just trying to show the world what we've achieved in the last few years, that we are modifying our practices as we learn. We've learnt a lot more about our stocks and our biomass management, and we've also learnt a lot more about sustainable harvesting techniques. So that's the emphasis I've got now, John, is basically sharing the knowledge with the recreational guys on how to interpret sea surface temperature charts and all that sort of carry on. And I do a weekly thing that shows them, in the different regions, where the fish are likely to be. And that's been really well received, but also to show them that, that we are fishing the sustainable way. And at the end of the day, we've, particularly in Australia now in the eastern tuna and billfish fishery, we've achieved Marine Stewardship Council certification as a sustainable fishery. That's the world's highest level of sustainability, and we need to be bloody proud of that. But the one thing I pick up from, because it's global now, New Zealand's only about 9% of our following, we've got a global audience, but the one thing I do pick up from the comments around the globe is that they know very little about the commercial fishery. And, they tend to go towards the garbage shit, like Seaspiracy and all that sort of carry on, because and I put the blame squarely on the commercial fisheries or the commercial bodies in Australia and New Zealand. We have failed to educate the public on our advances in sustainable harvesting and also managing the biomasses.
The fishing industry confronts a notable challenge in the form of diminishing number of young entrants. This scarcity of new talent entering the field poses serious concerns for the industry's future sustainability. Factors such as demanding work conditions, limited appeal of traditional practices, and the allure of alternative career paths contribute to the decline in young individuals pursuing careers in fishing. Addressing this issue is crucial to ensuring the continuity and vitality of the fishing industry.
Well, I think we're in deep trouble, John, to be honest, real deep trouble. We can't attract new entrants into the fishery, pure and simple. So I think we're in deep trouble. Yes, we can bring in the Indonesian and Filipino fishermen, and they're wonderful, wonderful guys. And that's a whole different thing in itself, the way we treat our fishers. But, you look at it from a young guy's point of view, and we'll have, I might have 10 guys, 10 young Australians or Kiwis come on our boats, and before I get one that does a second trip, yes, I know that the industry don't want to talk about it, but the fact is that they are long hours. It's a hard graft. They're out of phone range, so their world ends when they can't have social media. And I'm not knocking the young guys, but you look at a young guy coming onto a boat. He comes on the boat with maybe 4 or 5 seasoned fishermen, and straight away he's a young bastard, so they don't want to know about him. And they know from experience that there's a very good likelihood that he's going to do the one trip and we'll never see him again. So the majority of the existing crew don't even want to know his name. He just gets called new guy. The poor guy's, he might have just left school, or he might have been working as a builder's labourer or whatever, doing his 8 hours. All of a sudden he's thrust into X amount of hours, a lot longer than he's ever worked in his life. He's got a whole lot of guys that don't really want to talk to him. He's on a rolling boat. He's got no contact with loved ones. It's a bloody hard graft, and the vast majority of them, John, just do the one trip and go, stuff this, mate. I'd rather work in the freezing works or go back on the building site. So unless we get a better way of doing things, we're not going to attract the new entrants. And as old bastards like me leave the fishery, we take our knowledge with it. Any of the young skippers that we do get through to their skipper's ticket, they're normally cocky young lippy buggers, as I was at that age, so they get cocky, and as soon as they get cocky, you think, well, okay, mate, you know it all, I'm not going to share my knowledge with you. So as us old bastards leave the industry, we're taking our knowledge with us, and that's not just the knowledge of, our different techniques, it's also the knowledge on the biology of the fish that we target, what its habits are, its bite times, whether it's trawling or long lining, and also the local knowledge. Different fish react different ways in different areas. So as we leave the fishery, unless we've trained up a couple of proteges, that knowledge goes with us. So the new young guys that are coming into the industry and want to stick around and maybe have raised finance for their own vessels, they're on their back foot right from the get-go, mate, because they've got none of the knowledge that's been passed down. Whereas, in the old days, when it was essentially owner-operators, you fished for your dad, you left school and you fished with your dad, and after 10 years and you'd proved yourself, the old man would give you the wheel. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. Most of the boats are owned by companies, particularly in New Zealand, and if you're lucky enough to get a shot as a skipper, you've got to prove yourself first. So a lot of guys won't stick around for that. So I think we're in deep trouble, to be honest.
Despite the issues facing the industry, several leading fishing companies are actively addressing the industry's challenges by investing in capacity and skill development. Their efforts aim to bolster the workforce and secure the industry's future by providing training, education and career advancement opportunities. Ultimately, their initiatives contribute to a more resilient and thriving industry poised for long-term success.
There's some really good initiatives. If you look at Offshore Seafoods, they're doing some fantastic initiatives, and I think Sea Lords and Sanders in New Zealand are the same. And I've been keeping my eye on a couple of young guys, both here in New Zealand and Australia, and there are some fantastic young fishers coming up. The future looks really good as a fishery because, as I say, we now have a lot better understanding on the biomass and what we can, the quota that's been set for each species. Most of the species have been in the quota system for quite some time now, and we can estimate what we're doing with our catch per unit effort in each fishery. So we know what the biomass is like. We know how much we can sustainably harvest out of the fishery every year, and also our harvesting techniques. We're a lot better than we used to be. We know how to avoid seabird captures. We know how to rig up our trawl gear so that we're extracting, so we're not getting seal captures and turtle captures. So we've got healthy fisheries, we've got sustainable fisheries, and we've got sustainable harvesting techniques. So everything's looking good, and we're also changing the way we do things. We're looking at a lot more boat to plate these days, so more of a niche marketing of our fisheries. So there's a bloody good future here if we can get guys to actually do to man the vessels.
Experienced fishermen like TK bring a wealth of valuable contributions to the world of fishing. With their extensive knowledge, honed skills and infectious enthusiasm, they offer a unique blend of wisdom and practical insights that can greatly benefit the industry.
Oh, I'm going to keep going. I'm just about to start a new adventure shortly, so when I get back from visiting my family in the next week or so, I'm actually heading down to Ulladulla to join a family down there and run their big steel boat doing the Southern Bluefin tuna. So I've got a few years left of me yet, John. So yeah, a couple more adventures. So yeah, I'll be doing that for a while. And the way the social media is going, I've got a team with me now, so that's going great. We're sort of looking at other avenues there with subscription sites and all that sort of carry on. So and again, it's still just carrying on, sharing that knowledge with the recreational guys, John. So I'll carry on doing that. But with the technology these days, I can do that from out at sea, and as you know, I'm an old bastard these days, so I'm pretty much a slipper skipper. The young guys can do the hauling, and I can sit on my bum upstairs and monitor the cameras and gas bag to the followers on Facebook at the same time, or social media at the same time. So I'll carry on for a few years, John, and then I would hope later on in life I'll probably grab a charter boat, mate, and go and get that world record.
The career fisherman embodies a genuine and profound love for nature. Their daily connection with the rhythms of the sea fosters a deep appreciation for its beauty and intricacies. Through their work, they develop an intimate understanding of marine ecosystems and the delicate balance of life within them. This love for nature drives their commitment to sustainable fishing practices, ensuring the health and longevity of aquatic environments.
I actually come ashore and I get a bit twitchy, I have these great plans when I'm out at sea, right? I'm going to go into a shopping mall and I've got this big list, I'm going to buy this and buy this and all that sort of carry on. And I get into the shopping mall and I walk about 10 paces and I look around at all these bloody humans and I think, bugger this, I'll run back to the boat. So I've spent more time in the last 40 years out at sea than I have on shore. So yeah, I just love the tranquility up there, mate. You know what it's like, those sunrises and sunsets before you wake up the crew. It's still got the magic for me, that's for sure.
TK Walker's career as a fisherman uniquely positions him as an ideal social media star to share his captivating stories. His extensive experience on the high seas lends authenticity and depth to his narratives, captivating audiences with real-life accounts of adventure, challenges and triumphs. His insider knowledge of fishing practices, marine life and the natural world allows him to paint vivid pictures that resonate with both fishing enthusiasts and the curious alike. TK's passion for his craft and the environment shines through, making his stories not only engaging but also educational, inspiring a greater appreciation for nature and sustainable practices. As a seasoned fisherman, TK Walker seamlessly combines expertise with genuine enthusiasm, making him a compelling figure in the world of social media storytelling.
This is Fishtales, a seafood podcast. A Deep in the Weeds production. I'm John Susman. Follow us on Instagram at Fishtales Seafood Podcast or email us at fishtalespodcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay tuned for more tales from beneath the surface of the seafood world every Friday on your podcast app.